Welcome to Car Sales Talk 101, where it's all about life in the car business. Telling you like it is. Here's the man with the plan, Terry Cameron. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Car Sales Talk 101. I'm Terry Cameron. Thanks for hanging out with me again this week. I believe this is episode number 125. Hard to believe that there's 124 more episodes prior to this one. So if you get a chance, do what I'm doing and go back and listen to some of the previous episodes to get you a little tuned up and a little refresher. This week we're going to talk about the subject, the grass is greener on the other side. But before we do, I want to talk to Jason. Jason sent me a message through LinkedIn, and he said after listening to my podcast and probably other ones if he's smart, he said he went from a 3-car salesperson to a 24-car salesperson and won salesperson of the month back to back. But right now, he's just like everybody else. He's struggling a little bit because of the COVID virus that we thought was going away, and it seems to be coming back a little bit more. And not to mention with GM shutting down and some dealers cutting back on ordering cars or even accepting more inventory. So he's a little concerned about what he can do. And he's also mentioned that he thinks he might be lucky to sell those 22 and 24 cars. And I'm going to tell him, no way. Nobody sells 22 and cars one month and 24 cars the next month by being lucky. They do that by hustling and working hard and working steady. All right. So don't think that was lucky. Now, Jason had a question about how to stop or how to avoid starting out slow each month. And the only answer I can think of is don't start out each month. The way I always did it is I just sold cars. I didn't think of the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, or the end of the month. I just sold cars and knowing that I'm going to get paid probably a couple times during that time. So don't start the month and don't end the month. Just keep on selling cars like it's the first day or the second day or the third day. Don't worry about where it is in the month. Just keep on selling cars. And Jason, you're doing great. Don't worry about that green pea slump because as long as you're prospecting and as long as you're asking for referrals, you'll dig yourself out of it and you're going to shine even brighter. So let's go ahead and get started with this week's episode. The grass is greener on the other side. Now, I'm talking about this because I've interviewed a lot of salespeople over the past several months, and I didn't hire any of them. And I noticed there was one common denominator in almost every single one of them, and that was how long they spent at their previous dealerships or previous jobs. And I guess they think it's okay. But when I see an application with 3, 4, 5 different jobs, some of them all dealerships in the past year and a half, 2 years. Now, I really don't want to hire somebody like that. I don't want to put a lot of effort into helping somebody out, training them, getting them to fit in just for them to leave in a few months. You know, I listened to another podcast where the author even talked about being in several different dealerships over a short amount of time. You know, that's a tough thing to do. It's really tough for you to gather a loyal customer base, I guess, or fan base or listenership without being consistent. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus because sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. But you have to think about the consequences to moving from one dealership to another. The first thing that always comes to my mind is your customer base. I mean, one of the things you should be talking to your customers about is being there for them whenever they need you, not just, you know, selling them a car and then they never hear from you again or see you again. It's a big selling point. You know, customers don't like looking for a new salesperson. If they can find one they like and trust, they're going to be very loyal to that salesperson. But when you tell them, hey, don't worry, if you ever have any problems, you need anything, just give me a call. I'll be here. And when they do, you're not there. You're at another dealership. Now, speaking about the customer base, you cannot take your customers out of the database the DMS, whatever you're using, the CRM from your current dealership. I mean, I guess you can, but that's proprietary. That is the dealership that you work at. That's their customers. That's their database. And if they wanted to, they would have every right to file charges if you are stealing their information. Not only that, but what about building relationships with the team that you're going to be working with? I mean, if you jump from dealership to dealership, the people that you're going to be working with, they're not going to want to embrace you and help you, knowing that you're probably not going to be around very long. Think about that. Now, you're also going to develop a reputation. If you jump around from dealership or job to job, if you jump around, the reputation you're going to get is not just from customers about somebody that's never there when I need them, but what about when you're trying to be hired? The dealerships look at that. They want somebody that has some stability behind them. And think about this. What if you're trying to get a car loan or buy a house and the lenders look and see that you can't keep a job? You move from dealership to dealership. That's a tough thing to do. You need to have some stability. Your customers need you to have some stability. So are there some good reasons to leave a dealership? Absolutely. I remember leaving a dealership after 13 years because I just couldn't move up anymore. The people that held those positions higher than me were there for a long time, and they were going to be there for a lot longer. And I was courted for a position, which was a promotion. So I took it. That's probably the only reason, or probably the best reason, I would say that you should, I don't like using this term, but jump ship and move to another dealership. But before you do, you need to check it out. Because if you've been at one location for a long time, there's got to be a reason why you stayed there. And if you're going to go to another dealership for another position, you have to check them out. They may not be the same type of dealership. Not only the pay plan, but the way they do business. If you're going to be replacing somebody, find out why you're replacing them, how long they were there. I know a dealership that probably had, 7, 8 GMs in a 2-year time frame. Something is broken at that dealership. So check it out before you go. If you're at a dealership that just doesn't support you, they don't care. And I know some dealerships in large cities that all they care about is the real estate that they own, not necessarily selling cars. And I'm talking about dealerships that are in one of the largest cities in the country, and my dealership outsells them each month, and we're in a small town. So check it out. If you're not making the money that you think you should be making, and let me give you an example. If you're selling 20 cars a month and you're making $5,000 selling 20 cars, and you can go to a dealership and sell 20 cars and make $10,000, well, I think that's the smart thing to do. But again, before you do it, check it out. Make sure you're not going from the frying pan into the fire. The grass is not always greener, but sometimes it is. The biggest point I want to make about jumping ship from one dealership to the next is, again, your customer base. They want a salesperson, a professional salesperson, a manager, a professional manager to be there when they come in. I see it all the time at every dealership that I've worked at. Yeah, I've jumped ship a few times, but 30 years, 5 dealerships, not too bad. 5 dealerships, 2 years, well, that's a different story. So you want customers coming in asking for you. And you're going to lose a lot of them when you move. So again, your customer base is really important. You're going to sell yourself to them that you are going to be there in their time of need and when they need another car, or if they want to refer somebody to you. And it's a shame. And it really doesn't look good for them or you if you're not there anymore. So the grass is greener sometimes, but really most of the time it's not. Check it out before you decide to move. And then last but not least, especially if you've been with your dealership for, a few years, You may want to talk to upper management, your general sales manager, general manager, dealer principal, whoever it is, about how you're feeling. Because if you're successful where you're at, you're not a drama queen or drama king, they're probably going to have something to say as far as trying to keep you there and keep you happy. So check with them before you do it. Build your book of business and keep it there with you. The grass is not always greener. So guys, if you can, hop on over to whatever platform you listen to. Give me a rating and maybe write a review. I really would appreciate it. And remember, the sky's the limit. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please rate it and write a review on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate your valuable feedback. You can email Terry at 10minutessalestalk@hot.rr.com. And don't forget to share the show with a friend.